So A won the vote for the vote that I posted in one of my videos, and A won. There was a tie, but then just move my chair forward for a sec. There was a tiebreaker. I'm already smelling the amount of work I'm gonna have to do. Yeah, I just decided to make this video. I didn't know which one I wanted to make. That's why I told you people to vote A1. So anybody else wanted B, I'm extremely sorry. Maybe I'll do B later on during my YouTube channel. Maybe in my future videos I may do how to be a very good script writer. So let's go into the tutorial. I cannot do the tutorial without changing, so let me quickly go change. This is better. Now let's actually get to work. First thing, when I always start up my series, this is the way I do it, so people want to know how I do it. And yeah, so how I set up my series is we're basically with what and how. What are the characters gonna look like? What is the setting? And how are they going to start up? How is the plot? Stuff like that. So I'm gonna explain the what. Basically, what are they gonna look like? Well, I'm gonna say that is the hardest part while doing it, because sometimes you can make mistakes. Did you know that Ava was meant to be a boy? Yeah, in my series, Melkuchim is pretty cool. Ava was meant to be a boy. And there was supposed to be two princesses. But one will be princess and one will be honey. I don't understand why I was thinking of that. But yeah, just starting up your series is like a beta version. Not all your ideas might come out. So if all your ideas don't come out, I don't know what to say. Yeah, so that's how I set up my series. What are my characters gonna look like? That's gonna be a little bit harder, but there are a lot of tutorials on YouTube on how to get better at character designs. I'm not a master and I'm not a noob at character designs. I'm like in between currently. So yeah, that's character designs. And what is the setting? Basically, it could be fantasy, horror, anything. I'm gonna go for fantasy and medieval because these I'm gonna make this like a random series that fairies, things like that. So now how is the plot gonna be? So let's say 6 teenage fairies are going off from the elemental kingdoms, meeting up together because they wanna fight a great danger called King Malfoy, and he's pouring danger and evil into the nature area, and they want to not destroy that nature kingdom. Instead, they want to destroy his specific kingdom so that nature kingdom can be safe again. That's how the plot is gonna go. So 6 teenagers, and now we're gonna go for the 6 rulers. So that's already 12 characters. And then so we're gonna have 2 who are twins that don't bond together, their parents. So that will be 14 characters. With King Malfoy, 15 characters. So that's the 15 characters we're gonna create. Now for the plot twist in the story, because you're always gonna have plot twists, of course. The plot twist in the story, let's say one fairy dies and then another one joins King Malfoy. So that's basically 6 teenagers minus 2. Now there's 4 left. The 2 twins and those other 2. Those other 2 get captured, and the 2 give them amulets so that they can be able to talk to them while they're in the cell. So now the twins are trying to fight King Malfoy, but they need to bond so that that energy can collide together and be able to have enough energy to fight him. But they just can't do that. Now that's where there can be space for a problem on a conflict in the story. Now we have our what and how section done. We know how they're gonna look like, how many characters we have, the setting, plot, and plot twist. Next, what we are gonna need is the opening, ending, and logo. The logo is pretty easy. I recommend for beginners or anybody who still just prefers having something that's easy to get. I prefer Pics Art because Pics Art can be pretty easy to use. It's pretty basic. I don't understand why it's pretty easy, but yeah, for anybody who wants to go advanced on this logo, that they want to be like anime advanced, I recommend Photoshop for you, even though I haven't used Photoshop. I don't know. I just think that's the most advanced thing I could think of currently. So for logo creators, I prefer Pics Art for myself, but mostly because I could use Photoshop if I wanted to, but I don't want to waste my time half on the series creating my logo, even though your logo should be good. Although your logo should be good, you shouldn't waste half of your time on the logo. Next, opening and ending. If you didn't know, I have a playlist. I'm gonna link it up in the eye if possible, or maybe at the end card of this video, or just go to my playlist section. Pause this video, go to my playlist section, just go check it out, because I have a long variety of background music, opening and ending music, but I mostly do have background music when I opening and ending music. If you're having problems with opening and ending music, just follow with the theme. For example, fairies, medieval. How about I don't want to get copyrighted for saying something about this song, but still though, just pick anything you could. If you're having trouble with it, it's always fine to try something that doesn't fit your theme. Just experiment. Now for the ending could be creditless or have credits. If it's voice acted, then yeah, sure, I'll add credits. I'm not telling you anything to do. Now we have most of that done. Opening and the logo done. What we're gonna need? The script, of course. And yes, this pulls us back to option B of the vote. But I'm not gonna tell you everything about tips and tricks on how to be a good script writer. I'm just gonna tell you the script. So you should always have an idea for your episodes. Have an idea for how the characters be like. Do not rush so that you don't forget the characters' names or forget any of the characters' development, because in the script, character development is gonna be key. So when I first started Milko Chambers and Nights Up North, I had a script which was telling me how that character is gonna develop all over the series, and I'm just gonna do like a minor spoiler for Magical series. Natalie becomes more colder, more mean, and slightly more reserved than she was when she first entered the academy. And I think in episode 2, like when she kept on reasoning things, that really brought in a lot of her reservedness. How she's gonna be a little bit more cricket somewhat because of what everything is happening. Yeah. So don't make your characters slabs of wood. Give them character. I'm just making up everything I'm saying right now. Oh my god. Anyway, I was saying. So now you have your character development and your script. Make sure you also have script for your episodes. Yeah. Always have scripts for your episodes. You always need scripts for your episodes no matter what the problem is. Even though you do know what's gonna happen in the episode, at least have an idea. Like for example, the first episode is where they all meet together, so the name of that episode will be New Friends or something like that. Just have an idea of the episodes. And we have all of that. Background music is gonna be key. But for me, background music isn't really much of a problem when I have a playlist and filled with music, and I also have KineMaster audio, which I could download any music that I think would fit the background. Even sometimes, it's not all the time, like all the scenes should be jam-packed with music. Like just some scenes that you don't need music, so don't like add music when you know some scenes you just don't need it. So just don't do that to yourself, especially when you know it's not needed or you just want to add some music. At least add faint music, or I don't know, anything you want. So that means to have music is another thing. When you're also doing your setting, you need to also remember the time base. Time base isn't really mostly used in series, but for this my made up fantasy medieval-ish series, I don't have a time base. But I'm still doing for other people who do have time bases in what they're doing. Like for example, Tech Girls, one of my cancelled series, which Galaxy Fox is now taking over. Thank you, Galaxy Fox. Well, basically, it's in 2056. That's the year it's taken in. So tech is going up. Like you have VR games, everything is just amazing, but they still kept the school system the same way. For one main reason, I didn't want to change up the school system with pads and things like that. I just think like having iPads and phones in your school system would be really nice, but I didn't want to add it in what I was doing. So that's the time base thing. That's why the objects and everything that mix up with the time base aren't really together, you understand? So most of the time base objects are not going to be as perfect as you want it to be. So having a direction is always mainly key. If you know you're easily always breaking the rules that you made up yourself, I recommend not making a series with any type of rule that's following with anything that that's doing. So that way that thing will not be harder. Sorry, I had to quickly put off my fan. My fan was just making too much noise. Anyway, as I was saying, I just really think how time-based would really match with how they look like. Like for example, if your series is taking place in 2020, I expect baggy clothing. I expect crop tops. I expect baggy baggy shirts and handbags and everything. But if it's taken in like something like 1966 or 1930, I recommend nice, good shirts. Oh, high heels, buns, makeup, horrendous makeup that the blush is just red, peachy red, so pigmented. So that's what I recommend for anybody using time-based. If you're also using time-based, make sure the characters, the backgrounds, the objects, if you'd like, would work to work. But for people who are also using backgrounds, and you always realize I'm always getting copyrighted for my backgrounds. Well, when you're researching backgrounds on either Google or Safari, any type of browser you want to pick, always add no copyright, no matter what happens. Just add no copyright to the background I want to pick, because I don't know, can you get copyrighted off backgrounds? A friend told me you can, so yeah, that's just what I'm gonna say. Now, the final part of this video, which is the most important part. What have we talked about? We talked about how they're gonna look like, what's the setting, what's the plot, what's the problem. There's two final things I want to talk about. How the series is gonna end, which is not something you have to pick now. Maybe like around 3 or 5 more episodes before the end of the series, that's when you can start thinking about how the series is gonna end. Well, that's easy. And the next one is be creative. Add things to your series that you haven't seen before. Add different things to your series that you think will just mix together really well. It's like adding red and pink. It mixes. Red and pink. It mixes. Just try something new to at least add to what you're doing, because who doesn't mind? Like, who doesn't mind? Everybody wants to see a unique series. And if you're always having problems picking out what you want to add, then that's fine. It's not by force. I'm not forcing you to do anything. Alright, this is the end of the video. I'm already smelling the amount of editing I'm gonna have to do today, and it's really tiring because I'm having school tomorrow. So yeah, bye my Zoonies, and peace.